Well, I gotta do one more video before Christmas, so I guess this is gonna be it. So, raise your hands. How many of you know about the channel CinemaSins? If you don't know about the channel CinemaSins, okay, boomer. I'm recording this on the 27th of November. I think that means dead by now. So, CinemaSins is a channel where they take a movie and they go through the entire movie nitpicking the shit out of it.
Does this urinal read everyone's eye that uses it? Even if the door doesn't open unless you're a villain, I guess there will be a red laser shooting into your retinas while you pee.
And then adding to a little tally at the top with the all too familiar ding sound. As someone that likes stupid movie nitpicks, I really like this channel. But it's not, I like this channel as in this is good content. I mean, I like this channel as in it's a good thing to listen to while I'm doing something else. I wouldn't say it's high quality content, because they make a lot of mistakes and just lapse in logic, but the overall concept of this is actually kind of cool, and obviously it's right for other forms of media. For example, video games. There's a lot of video game sins videos out there, and I mainly watch 3. The channel I'm going to be focusing on today is Dartigan, more specifically the game sins episodes of Uncharted, because I just recently replayed the entire Uncharted trilogy on brutal mode. I feel like this would be the best use of my knowledge for a YouTube video, because I'm not going to be doing a review of them anytime soon. So what he does in these videos is take the game and go through the entire thing nitpicking the game. Basically the same as CinemaSins, only it's game sins.
Nathan's hair is still immaculate even after scuba diving.
One more channel I want to talk about is JXE, formerly known as CinemaSins. There's so many sins, oh my gosh. Sins is what I'll call him now. I could just call him JXE, but I'll just continue calling him Sins. Basically, a long time ago, he used to make everything wrong with videos. It was pretty funny. He would basically take their format and use it against their format. It was kind of like a funny meme thing. There's a lot of other channels that do the everything wrong with videos, but I'm more specifically talking about JXE's videos because that's the format I'm going to be using. Hopefully he's okay with me using his format. After all, he did use CinemaSins' format for a few years. So yeah, if you couldn't tell by that long explanation of all these channels, I'm going to be doing a CinemaSins type deal here. I'm going to be doing everything wrong with Uncharted, because I haven't really seen too many people do this channel. I like all 3 of these channels, so if I say anything mean, that's just completely in a jokey form. Alright, let's start the sinning of everything wrong with Uncharted.
Real Francis Drake quote unknowingly inspires Naughty Dog to make a 4th Uncharted game, even though the 3rd game properly ended the series.
Yeah, but you're glad they did, right? I mean, Uncharted 4 is pretty great. Also, how's that a sit on this game exactly?
I'm here off the coast of Panama, where we just recovered what we believe to be the coffin of legendary explorer Sir Francis Drake.
And now let's capture all of our illegal destruction of history on video cassette for later.
Well, Elena doesn't know that it's illegal yet. She still thinks that Nate has a permit to be here. What you should have said about this scene is that Elena and Drake are, for some reason, barefoot on this rusty, sharp boat.
Also, what kind of gorilla-ass journalism is this? She's both reporting and filming on a store-bought video camera. That thing wouldn't even film underwater, and filming the finding of the coffin is pretty much the money shot for this kind of show.
Well, there's plenty of shows that work on an independent budget. And also, it doesn't have to be a TV show per se, it could be an online show.
Game doesn't think I noticed the Jack and Daxter reference on Nathan's scuba gear.
And that's a sin. How?
What are you talking about?
Elena doesn't notice the pirates until the perfect moment for a dramatic reveal, even though she was looking in that direction the entire time she was talking with Nathan about said pirates.
No, she wasn't. She was talking to Drake, who is not standing in that direction.
Do you know how to use one of these?
Yeah, it's like a camera. You point and shoot, right?
Good girl.
Shooting a gun is nothing like shooting a camera.
That's the joke.
Also, remember this line for later when Elena is shooting a grenade launcher one-handed from a moving jet ski.
That's after she's already had some practice with shooting guns. She's just a reporter. She doesn't have that much experience with guns. At that point in the game, she's had plenty of experience with guns and has even killed a few people.
I can't leave you alone for a minute, can I?
Sully still doesn't have his own Uncharted game set when he was a young man having his own adventures.
Yes, I agree 100%. Once and removed.
Wait a minute, is this what I think it is?
Drake's lost diary. He faked his death, just like I said, Sully. He must have been onto something big.
Yeah, well, let's just keep that between us.
Thanks for the loan, Mr. Drake. I think I've earned a look at that diary when we land.
You had to have known she would overhear that no matter where she was sitting in the back of the plane. So the "can you believe this shit" look on your face is pretty unwarranted.
I also agree with this scene. This scene is pretty confusing with the way everyone acts.
Because we're gonna have every two-bit scumbag in the world racing us to this treasure unless we cut her loose right now.
Sully gives a pretty convincing argument here for ditching Elena. Of course, we later learn he told a bunch of scumbags exactly where they were going on a treasure hunt. Guess that makes him a hypocrite, doesn't it?
Yep. There's no other comment there. So, yep, that's the point. Sully's a con man. He's a scoundrel. He does whatever he can to get the treasure and stay alive with Nate.
Explosive barrels in an Incan ruin.
This isn't an Incan ruin. In fact, Nate said before that this was older than Incan.
Incans also didn't invent pulleys or counterweights.
Again, Incans weren't in here.
And they also didn't invent whatever allows the floor to do this. Look, the Inca weren't exactly a technologically advanced civilization. You can't pull this shit.
Incans were not in here. Also, just because you have something doesn't mean that you've invented it.
Nathan Drake is the worst thing to happen to archaeology since ISIS.
All he did was blow up a door. And some random pillar thing. This sin is still warranted for other things later in the series, but not here. He's just blowing open a door so Sully can get past.
Suddenly I'm getting Crash Bandicoot flashbacks.
This game, you ran towards the screen. In the other game, you also run towards the screen. So, yeah, that's a bad thing.
Must have come up the river during flood season and gotten stuck.
Going up the river implies that this submarine traveled up a waterfall before getting stuck. This is still the dumbest sentence I've ever heard in a game, and I've played Final Fantasy XIII.
While I agree that sentence does sound stupid, it could just be misinterpretation on your part.
Let's check it out, huh?
Now, wait. Something about this feels kinda hinky.
Hinky. You act like you've never seen a German U-boat in the middle of the jungle before.
I'm being serious, Nate.
I tell you what, why don't you stay here? I'll check it out myself. I'll call you if I run into any Nazis.
Sully has plot device sense, because suddenly he gets a weird feeling that makes him stay behind just so he can be captured later.
Hold on to this for me, will you?
There is zero reason for you to have Sully hold onto Drake's diary. You've already jumped in the water twice now while carrying it, so getting it wet is no big concern for you. The only reason Sully needs to hold it is so it can be a huge plot device later.
Yes, those two sins are actual, genuine writing flaws that make zero sense. It has always bothered me for the game. So one sin removed for each.
Looks like I'm gonna have to do this the hard way.
You really don't though. Instead of climbing all the way around the cliff so you can drop on top of the sub, why not just climb up the side of the sub? If you can scale a cliff wall, I'm certain the rusted out, full of holes submarine would prove little challenge.
Because the side of the sub is pretty sharp and he would easily cut his hands on the sub. And due to the fact that the sub is extremely rusty, he would get tetanus in an instant. And where he is right now, wouldn't exactly be simple for him to get a tetanus shot.
Something nasty happened to these guys. There's blood everywhere.
I see no blood anywhere though. Nate, who is obsessed with treasure and fortune, takes only one gold doubloon from a pile that would likely be worth a small fortune.
Those last two sins are great. One sin removed.
All of the Nazis on this sub were killed by the humans cursed by the El Dorado statue, which doesn't really make any sense since the curse turns you instantly and these guys were very far away from the island where El Dorado was taken by the Spanish, meaning these Nazis were cursed by the statue, traveled all the way to Ecuador and up a waterfall in their submarine before the cursed Kriegsmarines finally killed everyone on board.
Well, most of that sin sounds great. The last part about the Nazis traveling up the submarine never happened. That would have had to happen long after this whole Nazi zombie incident happened in the U-boat.
I'm Gabriel Roman.
Yeah, I know who you are, asshole.
What does Nate, when he emerges out of the water, say
Friends of yours, Sully?
when right after he admits that he knows Gabriel Roman?
Yeah, I know who you are, asshole.
This game likes to pretend it has variety in its gameplay by adding stealth moments like this one. Only problem is they forgot to add the one element required for stealth gameplay. A freaking crouch button.
Actually, that sin is wrong. The one thing that's required for stealth gameplay are stealth mechanics that work. The stealth in this game is completely broken and it doesn't work at all. So a crouch button wouldn't exactly work out in this game's favor. It would just make you crouch. Elena in this shot seems to have the camera 1 foot away from her, but in the next shot it's seen much more farther away.
Oh crap! We're on fire!
You just turned the camera off a second ago, meaning your reaction to being shot with an anti-aircraft gun was to turn your camera back on and state the obvious.
Well, yeah, if you're shooting a documentary, you should always capture the most action-intense moments.
Oh no. Elena.
Elena did not jump out over that Spanish fortress, so how did she and her parachute end up all the way over there? And mind you, she landed not far from where the plane crashed, but it was Nate who was the one who stayed with the plane the longest before bailing out.
Well, Elena's parachute actually did work. while Nathan's just fell right vertically down. So if Elena's parachute would work, it would be understandable that the wind would carry her horizontally, and would make it reasonable that she lands in the Spanish fortress.
This was the game where the guy who paints climbable ledges with white paint got his big break, and he used that opportunity to paint the hell out of every ledge in this fortress.
The game shows you where to climb instead of being a convoluted mess. I mean, I agree that it could have been a little bit more organic, but it's better than jumping around trying to find the way through.
Buka Pintu! Ah, crap. Sialalo! Chepatan! Buka Pintu! Ah, taí! It worked! There he is! Up there! Get on the gun!
These guys were speaking Indonesian before opening the gate for Nate, then switched to English once finished.
Yeah, but it's funny, so shut up. Okay, fine, that was actually a fine sin, one sin removed.
QuickTime events.
Yep.
How has Elena been getting around this pirate-infested fort without being spotted until just now? She's hardly been low-key, while with her whipping her camera out at every vista to record B-roll footage.
Well, she isn't shooting up the entire place, so she's not exactly calling attention to herself. Also, how come in this shot Elena completely disappears? And how come in the previous shot where she is there, the camera's just laying on the ground?
Traditional sandstone, brick, and stucco. Limestone mortar, huh?
How'd you get to know so much about this?
My show, Episode 4, Architects of a New World.
Seriously, what network is airing this show? I've seen no sign of professional production. It's just you and your camera.
Like I said earlier, show doesn't always mean TV show.
Find her. Trust me. How much trouble could one girl be?
Ironic question of irony.
That's the point.
Nate steals back the map Eddie took from him, even though it's completely useless at this point, seeing as he's already on the island.
Now with this map, he can use it to guide his way through the island. Also, there's many symbols and numbers that show hints on what to do on the island and where to find things.
Suddenly I'm getting Metal Gear Solid flashbacks.
This game had something that's similar to this game, so that's bad.
You really think you could escape from what?
Oh no, just giving the young lady the $10 tour.
That sounds dirty.
And that's a sin how?
Now, give me that map.
Why? It's useless. You are standing on the one thing it leads to.
You remember that thing I said earlier? Well, imagine if I said it again.
Remember when I said to remember the line Elena made about shooting guns and cameras? Well, here's the payoff.
Well, I do believe that this part of the game deserves every sin that gets thrown at it. That isn't exactly a warranted one. After all, she has been shooting guns throughout the entire game so far, so she's had time to learn how to use them.
Also, why are there dozens of barrels of fuel just floating in the water?
That's our ticket out of here. Come on.
Our ticket out of here? Are you giving up?
Why do you play this cutscene clip after all the gameplay of the jet ski, when the cutscene comes before the jet ski gameplay?
Maybe you hadn't noticed, but we're kind of outnumbered.
We're doing fine so far. Oh, Lord.
Elena, I don't need your bullet-riddled corpse on my conscience. Let's go.
Oh, please. You quit if you want to, but don't use me as an excuse.
Fine. It's me, okay? I am quitting. Are you coming or not?
So that's it. You're just gonna forget about the treasure and forget about Drake?
While it's not a sin in this game, the sequels turn a 180 on Elena's character by having her become the rational one who doesn't want to brave the danger for a good story, and Nathan becomes the one ready to risk life and limb for the treasure, completely at odds with how they're presented in this game.
Then why are you setting this game for it if you said that it wasn't a sin in this game?
Hey!
How did you get here?
How did Elena get here? The balcony that Nate crossed to get here collapsed behind him.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually fall, and if you were to go back to that area, you would realize that you can actually jump in between those segments, so she'd be able to get here no problem.
Got to let it go!
Damn it!
And that's why you carry multiple memory cards for recording. This is why you hire a cameraman.
Also, you could have just handed Nate the camera so he could put it on the bridge and then pull you up.
I speak for everyone who's ever played this game when I say, fuck this part. Fuck this part in particular. Oh, they toned it down for the re-release. Carry on then.
You still probably should have said that. It still sucks in the re-release.
Wasted his life. For nothing.
This won't be a major plot device in the sequel, as well as the key to a treasure I've been searching for my entire life. So no reason not to leave it here on Sir Francis Drake's corpse.
Dartigan doesn't sin the fact that Francis Drake's skeleton somehow has a beard and head hair on it, which is not possible.
Suddenly I'm getting Until Dawn flashbacks. Oh.
This game had a similar thing to this game, and that's bad.
Somehow Roman and his men just strolled through the monster-infested catacombs without any problem to capture Elena. Just as a reminder, this was Elena and Nate just a few minutes ago.
Oh my!
Well, Navarro's men are packing heat, so...
Wait a minute. El Dorado was at the bottom of that hole in front of the monastery? Navarro's men were all over that place earlier and had been there for some time. How the hell did they miss it? It's not even a deep hole.
Yes, it is a deep hole. Like, it is quite a deep hole, actually.
Right off into the sunset cliche.
And might I add how terrible that skybox looks?
How the hell did they miss it? It's not even a deep hole. That sounds dirty.